And my goal is to really just help others meet their goals in life, professionally, and just meeting their academic goals.
So today we're going to talk to Vice President of Instruction, Dr. Michael Beck. We're going to speak to Dr. Beck about several issues, including accreditation, new programs, and several initiatives here at the college. So you've been here now for basically one entire semester.
Yep.
Time-wise. It's a very roundabout question, but so what do you think of ACC in the time that you've been here?
First, thanks for having me, and I'm glad to be here with you. And so far, ACC is a great place. It's a wonderful place to work. It's a wonderful place to be. We've got some of the best faculty in the state and the country to work with, and staff as well. And so far, I feel right at home. Still got a lot to learn. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot from others. But I've also feel like I've had an opportunity to lead in a lot of situations as well. And we're currently working on a lot of major initiatives that are going to benefit students and promote student success. But yeah, as of right now, things are going great. Definitely glad that my family and I made the transition to Texas. And I'm very excited to be here and to continue to great things with others here at Alvin Community College.
What's your path to ACC? Shortly, kind of like where were you before and...
Sure. Yeah. So it's kind of, as I continue to have these conversations, it reminds me of how old I am and how long I've been in education. So I started off in teaching middle school English language arts, history, and kind of progressed, taught a little bit of high school. Then I became a professor at community college teaching history and transitioned into a dean position. And all of those positions were in North Carolina. Then I stepped into an AVP role in South Carolina in the Spartanburg area, and then transitioned to Louisiana in the Baton Rouge area as a vice chancellor of academic affairs. And then COVID hit. We made a transition back to North Carolina, served as a senior dean over liberal arts. And now I'm here serving as the Vice President of Instruction. So really to summarize, I've worked in K-12. I've worked in community college now for an extended period of time, and I've loved every job I've ever had, every position I've ever served in. I've really enjoyed it, and I've loved working with middle school students. They kind of keep you young, right? Mm-hmm. And entertaining.
Well, they can age you too.
Like, yeah, I miss, sometimes I miss that classroom, but again, I feel like I've made the right transition into administration. That's really where my passion is: helping others, serving others. Really trying to implement change, really from a systems perspective, kind of having a broad impact on the campus, right, or in this particular case at the college, and really impacting a large number of students. Again, setting up programs, policies, procedures, working with others to promote student success, to support faculty and staff. And my goal is to really just help others meet their goals in life, professionally, and just meeting their academic goals. So that's kind of what my focus is, but love education. I come from a family where you either went into education and became a teacher, or you went into healthcare and became a nurse. And I chose... Well,
you found a perfect home at ACC then.
Yeah, I chose education. And, the funny thing is, I think I've shared this story with a few others here, but I remember going in to register for my undergrad courses and spoke with my advisor, and who happened to be a music professor. And she said, "What's your major?" And I said, "Music. That's what I want to do." She said, "Do you play the piano?" And I said, "No." She said, "Do you sing?" I said, "No." She said, "Well, you do not need to be a music major." So I said, "Well, what about history?" So that got me on the path of earning my bachelor's in history, then going through a teacher certification program. So that's really what got me into the field. But it took me a while to figure it out. And I always considered nursing as well. And again, I don't mean to kind of go down a side road here, but long story short, just kind of the paths and the stars aligned, so to speak, and here I am.
So tell me a little bit about the position. I mean, I know what the position is, but you kind of explain just kind of briefly what does the Vice President of Instruction do?
Yeah, so the Vice President of Instruction here at ACC, I believe there's a lot to this role. You can look at the job description, and we've got the bullet points of this, and this, but when you kind of break it down, a lot of it focuses on working with faculty, addressing faculty needs, making sure that I work with deans to make sure the scheduling's in place. We also look at topics such as building new programs, and we look at curriculum development, program changes, course changes, adding new courses, building new courses, serving in the community as an ambassador, building partnerships, looking for opportunities to not only expand, also going out into the community, building community partnerships, working with other institutions to build agreements, what we call articulation agreements or MOUs, memorandums of understanding, to create seamless pathways for students who are on the transfer side of the house. But yeah, there's a lot of that goes into it. But I would say if I had to sum it up quickly, we look at building programs, we look at supporting students, we look at building and establishing partnerships. There's a lot of components of the job that really consist of reviewing a lot of paperwork, signing paperwork. When it comes down to looking at, travel and professional development. And, I work closely with every academic division here at the college. So we're serving a diverse group of students, and we have a lot of needs that have to be addressed each and every day, each and every semester. So finding ways to help students, work with student services, work with other divisions here at the college to continue to grow and expand, remain relevant. This position is, let's put it this way, we have a lot of faculty, hundreds of faculty members, so there's a lot of areas to cover, but really what this role does is work with others to ensure that we're offering quality instruction, to ensure we're offering quality programs. And again, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that's not really so glamorous, so to speak, but it's it's necessary and needed.
Accreditation is one thing that a lot of the public doesn't really understand it, but it's also one of those things that kind of like what you said, it's the less glamorous task, but man, it's one of the most important, I think, on campus, which is one of the reasons kind of why I wanted to talk to you. Is why is it so important, and what does it take to maintain it?
So, John, I agree. I mean, accreditation is one of the most important things we have to focus on here at the college. And what it involves is regional bodies such as SAC-COC, who oversees colleges and universities throughout the southern portion of the United States. We work with local and regional accrediting bodies who look at specific programs. And basically what that means is that we have our peers come into our institution, review our programs, review how we operate as a college, and make sure that what we're doing is appropriate, make sure we're offering quality programs to students, and making sure that we're basically meeting the needs of our community. So it's basically like, to sum it up, it's quality assurance, right? Our peers are coming in and basically saying you're doing a great job, you're not doing a great job. These are some areas that you're really thriving in. These are areas that you need to improve in. And fortunately, our college recently went through I was
about to say, we had our 7th, I think, not too long ago.
We are in a good place right now. We received a reaffirmation, right, from SAC-COC. I think it was, a year ago? That was before I got here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, roughly.
So we're in a really good place there. But yeah, I mean, it's something that never stops. We're constantly going through that process of being reviewed. And again, whether that's at the program level or it's at the college level.
Right. I was going to say, in each program, they have their own agencies that do their own accreditation. I think the nursing program just completed their process with KHAB.
That's right. Yeah, nursing. Most of our health science programs definitely have accrediting bodies that we have to report to and check in with to ensure.
In addition to the main accreditation process.
That is correct.
So it's and very, I like how you said it's a very ongoing. Maintaining this.
Yeah, and I see the cycle as it's really like a will, right? So you start looking into the process, you review your programs, you collect artifacts, you collect data, you look at those artifacts and data, and then you find ways to improve, right? It's a continuous cycle, so it just never ends. I've been in education, like I said, for, I don't even know, for a while now. And it's always something that's there, right? Mm-hmm. That needs to be addressed, that has to be addressed, right? But without it,
I was going to say, if we don't have accreditation, that's
if we don't have
something that would hurt just everybody on campus more or less, especially the students.
Yeah, and it's not just ACC. I think it's every college and university across the country, right? If there's not a system of checks and balances that really make sure that we're in line with best practices and standards, there's not really a way to determine if we're offering quality programs and quality service to students, right?
And students, I know, if they go to a college that loses accreditation, they can't transfer those credits to another school because.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one thing I always mention to students, especially students. When I was a faculty member, especially, and I was having those early conversations, and advising students. I mean, like, if you are transferring from ACC to another college, I'm like, make sure they're accredited, right? Because if you go to a college that does not have accreditation or has lost that, there's a good chance when you graduate that you may not be able to transfer those hours toward a graduate degree, or your employer may not accept those hours. It's basically like the gold seal, the gold standard, especially when you have regional accreditation from
It's
SAC,
a certification, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely necessary and something that we have to be mindful of. But I'm always quick to share with students that if schools are not accredited by certain bodies.
I bet you do now as vice president, because it's your one of your main responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is really important.
It is. And yeah, I mean, we just got back from the SAC COC annual conference this week, which was in Atlanta, Georgia. And every time we go, I go, usually annually, you learn a lot. You learn something new. Things are always changing. Standards are always raising the bar, so to speak, to ensure we're continuously improving.
We have ACC staff members who participate in these reviews at other colleges as well. I mean, it's really kind of almost a governance by committee in a way. You're kind of being held responsible by people that also work in your field. So
yeah, that's sure. That's true, and that's the beauty of the process, is that not only are folks coming and reviewing our institution, but we have the opportunity to give back and serve as peer reviewers as well. We've got quite a few folks here, a handful at least, that I know of, that have been on site visits, off-site visits, reviewing other colleges. And you're able to glean best practices when you go on those site visits, right? And say, hey, that's a good idea. Maybe we should implement that here. Or, hey, that's not working so well at this institution. Let's try to stay away from that. So you kind of see the good, the bad, and the ugly, and try to glean the best practices and bring it back home.
You were talking earlier about these new initiatives on campus, and I know we've implemented a lot of new programs as well. What are some of these initiatives that y'all have kind of launched? And you've only been here in a short time, so I would imagine it's rough to try to take on these new initiatives, kind of just coming in. So
yeah. So one of the projects we're working on right now is looking at transitioning the majority of our classes over a 2-year period into an 8-week format. We've got data, we've got mentoring colleges across the state of Texas that we've been working with, and based on their stories and based on the data, we see that colleges that are transitioning to a majority of 8-week formats are seeing higher success rates, higher completion rates, lower withdrawal rates. So we're working on transitioning a large majority of our courses between now and the fall of 2024 into an 8-week format.
Right, and the majority right now are 16 weeks.
The majority.
What would they call a full semester class, more or less?
Yeah. I would say the majority are 16-week right now. But it's interesting when you look at 8 weeks. Let's say, for example, a student takes 5 classes at one time in a 16-week format. In 8 weeks, you might take 3 in one 8-week term, 2 in another 8-week term. So basically, you're taking fewer classes at any given time, right? Classes are shorter in length, so there's less time for life events to occur, right? Mm-hmm. So the goal is to reduce the length of class times, to reduce the number of events that could occur. So there's some science behind this initiative. We plan on definitely working with faculty and staff in the spring semester to locate areas that we'd like to develop more 8-week courses. And again, we plan on implementing more by fall of 23, and then hopefully we'll have our full plan in place by fall of 24.
We just implemented an engineering program. Students they ask these questions all the time. Well, do you have this program? Do you think you'll ever have this type of program? So walk us generally through kind of how a program starts and to the point where students can start enrolling, because I know it can be like a 2 or 3 year process.
Yeah, that's true. And I'll give you a prime example. We're actually, another initiative we're working on is developing a 4-year degree program. So typically what happens is before we can offer a program, there's a lot of conversations that have to take place. So we work with community partners, we work with advisory boards, we review employment data, we listen to our community partners across a spectrum of businesses. So basically we gather a lot of feedback. We listen to our students and really try to find out where there's a need. And then we look at, like I said, job placement data. We look at trends in the economy to see where the demand's growing or where there's needs. And then once we kind of identify that need, we have to work internally. We usually form committees to establish kind of a timeline, which is where we're at now with this 4-year degree program we're working on. We're planning on offering a 4-year BAS in Business Administration. And to give you an idea, if everything goes as planned, that program will not be implemented until fall of 2025. So there are a lot. We have to work with the Higher Education Coordinating Board. We have to work with SAC COC to get approval. We have to develop the curriculum. We have funding to support any equipment or additional supplies we might need. We have to hire faculty.
So you have to evaluate faculty and make sure they have them.
Yeah, so there's a lot of steps you have to take. A lot of the steps involve working with other agencies and entities to get approval, and once we go through that life cycle, it's more internal, building the program from inside. Again, addressing faculty needs, building the curriculum, making sure that we market the new programs, and getting the word out. And students will be able to earn that right here at Alvin Community College. So for this particular program, you're looking at about a 2.5, 3-year cycle. And it really just depends on the program. Sometimes it can be, maybe it doesn't take quite as long for certain programs, but for this 4-year program that we're planning to offer, it will take some time.
And it has its own accreditation challenges as well. It's not
the
same as implementing a associate degree program,
Yeah, we're going to have to submit like a level change, right? Submit for a new program, level change, because we'll be offering not only associate's degrees, but also a bachelor's degree moving forward. So a lot of work, a lot of hours, but again, it's a lot of fun working with some very bright individuals who are guiding the process. And yeah, we're really excited. We can't wait for that program to be in place. But now is when we do
a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey. This is when we do the heavy lifting. But we just formally submitted the notification to the coordinating board to pursue it. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to close out with this. Moving down here from North Carolina, what just in your life, what were some changes you kind of had to make to adjust?
Yeah, so I
know that's not a foreign country, but
it's not. Yeah, right. When we got here I think we actually moved here in July. When we got here in July and early August, it was hot and very humid. So the folks here are very friendly. The culture is very similar, right? So there's not a lot of culture shock, so to speak. but yeah, the weather is something that I asked some folks who work here who have lived in Texas all their lives. I said, when do you get used to this weather? And they're like, never.
Yeah, I'll tell you when we get there. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping that maybe around January 1st, it'll get down to the 70s. Maybe. But yeah, but man, we love it here. It's really a great place. Again, the food's great. The people are so delightful. And that's not just here at ACC, but also in the community, and couldn't ask for a better place to be.
All right. Hey, well, thanks for coming to talk to me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, John, appreciate your time, man.
Thank you for listening. To read about these stories and more, visit alvincollege.edu.